For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jalen Simmons, owner of JMixtape Productions. I've been blessed with the opportunity to help so many amazing people gain exposure and have traveled to so many places along the way. I want to continue that by allowing athletes, coaches, and others that I've crossed paths with to share their personal journey. That is why I present to you In the Making. Welcome to In the Making. This is Jalen Simmons here, your boy J Mix, and we're here with the special guest of today, Indigo, fashion designer, model, entrepreneur, and she's here to just tell her story, tell her progress through her journey, and hopefully she can give a few tips for a lot of people out there who are in the fashion business or who want to get into it or just want to learn the obstacles through life. Uh, yeah, so thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
So yeah, just start off by just talking about, where you started from and, where you came from.
Yeah, so originally I was born in Montana. Not a lot of fashion there, but I found ways. Like I would sneak into my mom's room and look at her Vogue magazines when she was away and stuff like this. And always felt I needed to express myself in the way I dressed. And eventually I moved to Las Vegas, and there I started working in the fashion scene and have just evolved from there. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so talk about the process or like, like what was like the first project you did or what's your like process as you create something? Like how do you go about and how'd you learn how to stitch and sew and just talk about that full process.
I mean, I learned how to sew from my mom. She taught me how to make Dorothy costume for Halloween because I really wanted to be Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. And so that's when I learned to sew. And then I didn't really do much sewing or anything like that until maybe like 2020. And I started sewing again. I got my own machine. I really wanted to like kind of transition from being a model in the industry to being more of a designer, more of a creative director. And so, when I create a collection, I decide, what the vibe is. I'll make a mood board. I'll figure out the color scheme and everything I want to use. And then I'll just sketch out on my computer, just basic sketches of what maybe I could make. And then over time, I'll start creating. Usually I create a collection in like 2 weeks. I'm a
Okay.
procrastinator, so
What is that normally a long time or what's like an average?
I would say like if I'm making like a 10-piece collection, I should probably use like a month.
Okay.
But I procrastinate everything, so I'm like 2 weeks in and I'm like working nonstop all day,
Oh,
just trying to get things done. But that's just, how the creative process works.
yeah.
When I have too much time to think about it, I overanalyze and like I don't create. So I like to just immerse into the creation and
Yeah. And
be
that's
there.
so you were saying it usually does take a month?
It should probably,
Yeah, yeah.
if I really want to
Yeah, that's
do things.
pretty good. So what inspires you or what inspires you? I know you said you talk a little bit about doing a storyboard. Like how do you go about making that storyboard? Are you like looking at nature? Are you looking at magazines like you were saying before? Or how do you kind of
Yeah, so I mean, it really depends on the collection. Like one collection was my collection creating my branding. So I was like, who am I? What is my brand defined as? And so I just really put like this is what Indigo Jerseys is. So that was like the first kind of mood board I made. And then the next collection I made was a very eclectic collection of just randomness, but the theme was sustainability. And so that was cool because I got to pull things from the thrift store and like cut them up and make new things and use old fabric scraps to make a pair of pants and things like that where it's like, you have to think outside the box with stuff like that. So
yeah,
that was really fun.
very creative? Talk about some of the obstacles in doing those things. I know like I don't know how precise you have to be on like the detailing or how you go through the whole process, but like talk about the obstacles you got to overcome to like stitch pants. I've seen you make full pants, these shorts that I'm wearing right now, Indigo. So like talk about like the ups and downs and like is there like a certain strategic way or is there like for each design it's a different sewing or
Well, each design is a learning curve. I'm definitely not the best at, creating what's it, like sewing patterns and stuff to create the clothes. I've never been trained by that. So really it's just like Googling how to do it, learning from my mistakes, tracing pants, tracing shirts, like trying to figure it out. And everything I make, I get better. So it's just a lot of trial and error. And I would say like for creation, that is my biggest challenge just because, I don't have a lot of knowledge on that. But just seeing my evolution from like when I started to where I'm at, I'm like, wow, I've learned so much just by doing, versus like,
so are those kind of the main components that show you that teach you? Are you like so you learn this like self self-taught pretty much. So did you go from like, okay, I Googled this, YouTube this, or did you look at another designer and was like, hey, I'm gonna take this from this designer? How did you go about
yeah.
that whole?
So I actually like when I first decided I want to make my brand, I wrote everything down, like what I want it to be like, what I want the language to be like, what what different brands I want to pull inspiration from. And I started by just making basketball jerseys, right? That's it. Customized to the clients. And I was trying to pull in more of like a couture high fashion feel to it. So I kind of expanded into more things than that. And just really taking elements from what inspires me from other brands, maybe their business, like the way they run business. Like with Dapper Dan, I really love how everything's custom. Um, Things like Balenciaga, like where it's like edgy, you never really know what to expect. Like keep the people on their toes. I really like to pull from Balmain. It's like a French brand, and he uses a lot of metals, a lot of shaping, a lot of just like very interesting, modern, but yet classical feel and look to his clothes. And although that isn't necessarily my aesthetic, I pull a lot of like the texture profiles that he uses and figuring out like different patterns that I can put together. So
All right, I know we talk about fashion as being clothing and just seeing it as, you know, the textures of clothes and kind of like the colorfulness, but overall, what is fashion to you?
yeah, I mean, to me, fashion is art. Fashion is self-expression. Fashion is how I feel that day, how I want to express myself that day, how I am trying to embody the world that I live in, create the reality I want to be, get inspired by my reality and showcase it through clothing and textures and colors and all of that. Like fashion is more than just like putting on clothes or styling things together. To me, it's really like the only way that I know to express myself. Like I'm not the best with words. I'm quite introverted. Like I only really know how to truly express myself through art, and my art is fashion. So that's what fashion is to me.
Right. And then like how do you keep up with a lot of the trends? Like are you like reading newspapers? Are you reading certain magazines? But like how are you staying hit with with the trends but also being original in your own way?
Yeah. Well, for me, trends are in a way commercial. Like I'm more into like the art again of fashion. So to me, like I care less about the trend and more about the expression, what I'm trying to say. Like if I'm in a bad mood, maybe I'll dress grungy that day just because that's how I want to feel. And whether that's in fashion and trending or not, it's less important to me other than like being able to express myself fully. And I mean, you do keep up with trends. Like on Instagram, I would say is my main platform that I can kind of see what's going on, see what celebrities are wearing, see what other designers are making. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna wear what I want to wear. And if you're in fashion, the point is to create trends, right? So if I'm falling into the trends, I'm 6 months behind.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I have to be 6 months ahead.
Yeah.
I have to define
It's
it.
pretty much changing like everything. every 6 months you say would be like the kind of phase where it's just
Yeah, that's
like
kind of like, because think about the seasons, like you're changing constantly the type of clothing, what you're wearing, all of that. So you got to be ahead.
yeah,
You got to create what's going to be cool next.
yeah, for sure.
So yeah.
Yeah. And then just talk about how do you handle like some of the criticism or how do you handle some of the feedback that you get, whether good or bad?
Well, I haven't gotten a lot of criticism, luckily, as of yet. I'm sure, there's people out there that don't like my work, and that's fine. And, everyone is entitled to their own opinion. And, I just create for myself, and I create for the world, and I create for the purpose, like I'm trying to spread art, I'm trying to spread fashion, I'm trying to spread happiness through my brand. I'm trying to create inclusivity. I'm trying to understand cultures. So it's if I am getting criticism, okay, then I must be doing something because no one's gonna be hating if I'm not. So I don't know. It's hard. Like I haven't had a lot of experience with like a lot of critique yet, but I am someone that loves constructive criticism. Like I see it as like a hack almost to get better. So whenever I get it from people, I'm honestly grateful because I'll take it as I wish. But
What about the good feedback? I know you talked about you say you didn't have a lot of like bad things from like people like interpreting how they feel about your work, but like talk a little bit about the good, like that is that kind of like, okay, I got to keep on this trend line of doing straight jerseys or oh, they like this, let me switch it up and see if they like this as well. Like how do you go about the even the positivity?
I mean, I love it. It's really great because as an artist, you're selling your ideas. So when you get that good feedback, it's like, okay, I have to continue, like I inspired these people and that was the point. So I love getting good feedback. It really does help me evolve over time. And like you said, like maybe people like this more than the jerseys, and then I'll kind of shift to that because at the end of the day, it's a business, right? What does the client want? And if I've began to make a lot more pants, and people are loving the pants that I'm making. So I'm kind of shifting into more like jerseys and like really dope pants, just because that's the feedback I'm getting. Yeah.
Um, yeah, talk about a typical day you kind of go through. Like talk about how your day goes about as a model designer.
Yeah, well, there's no such thing as a typical day for sure. Like every day is different. Not only am I a designer, a model, I'm also an entrepreneur, like so a lot of days I'll spend just on the computer working, trying to get things done, trying to reach out to the right people, figure out what's next. Other days I'll be sketching and drawing and creating collections, maybe sewing. And, other days I'm out on shoots, whether it's me modeling or someone modeling my brand. It's a very, crazy lifestyle, but I love it. So a lot of times I'll be traveling and doing lots of things like that. So.
Nice. All of that, like, you say every day's different, like sketching one day on the computer one day, have a shoot another day, maybe have to like ship some clothing or even order pieces that you need. Like, what are some things to stay sustainable in that? Like, what are some things to stay sustainable in, having an orthodox day every single day, kind of not knowing or even knowing that every day is different. Like how do you kind of like what are some ethics that you can, share to the people to help you sustain or grow in that?
Well, I like to keep things sustainable, not only with fashion, but my lifestyle. I like to try not to waste water, try to keep the lights off, things like that. But I also, in fashion, I'll save all the scraps that I have. Like I don't throw them away. I put them all in a bin, and I have ideas for like different ways I can implement them, connect them together, like add them like little elements or pieces to different looks, just to like try to eliminate that waste because that scrap waste is so much in fashion. And then of course there's like fast fashion where they're wasting so much water, billions of gallons of water a year just to throw clothing in the landfill, or you'll buy something, it'll fall apart in a day. So just being a slow fashion brand where everything is handmade, where I'm meticulous about the fabrics I'm using, I think that's a big step into the direction of sustainability. And a lot of times I'll go thrifting and I'll buy like curtains or a really like long dress and use the fabrics from those things, or a pair of pants and add different elements to them. So there's a lot of ways to be sustainable. And every day I'm trying to figure out how to enhance that and how to be better in that aspect because I think it's important. Yeah.
Yeah. So are you like, so as far as the work ethic as well though, like is that part of your process of just being efficient? Or are you just like, okay, let me keep this, combine this? You're always connecting the dots pretty much, I see. Yeah, so is that kind of like just the path that you're, okay, I need to do this today, so I'm gonna take these papers and maybe implement them here. Oh, I saw something at the store that looks similar to this design that I want, or how do you?
Yeah, so I mean, it's really kind of like you said, like connecting pieces. Like, I'm here, I need to be here. What do I have to do? How do I execute? Okay, now I'm here. How do I get to my next step? And it's just really like day by day, it's like, okay, what do I need to do to be where I need to be tomorrow?
That's nice. And then yeah, so, how long have you been how long have you been in the fashion biz?
I've been in the industry since like 2013, so it's been a while.
And talk about yeah, just talk about some of your memorable moments that you've had through your journey so far.
For sure, like when I had first started, created my first collection, I was reaching out to models, trying to find people to work with, and I did my first couple photo shoots like with that collection. And that was a really amazing moment because it just proved to me like you can do this. Like maybe like I was the one taking photos, so I couldn't even find a.
This in Vegas? Was this in Vegas?
Yeah, this was in Vegas. Yeah, so I couldn't even like there was no one to help me in a way, and we made it happen. And it's just like that. And then now seeing from like that first moment where I'm reaching out, just trying to get anyone to come model in my clothes, to where I have such a community now. Like I know I can reach out to anyone and work with them, and it's just crazy to like look back and see the evolution. Yeah. And remember those moments because with those models, like that was such a special moment, not only for me, but hopefully for them as well, to be the first of what I hope to be as an empire. So
Yeah. And then just talk about some things you're looking forward to. I know you spoke to me, you said the purpose you're here is just being able to get that visa to go to Nigeria and doing a fashion show out there. Is that, yeah, also talk about that and some other things that you're looking forward to.
yeah, so I'm going to Nigeria to partake in a festival. I'm going to be there as a stylist. We're collaborating, and they're going to teach me about their culture. I'm going to teach them about mine. It's going to be really cool. And then we're going to create a fashion show and showcase all of the collection. And after, so that's going to be like a month, right? After this, I'm also going to be hosting my own festival through my brand, and we're gonna have like fashion designers, dancers, artists, musicians. Like it's gonna be a one night event, but it's gonna be full of just activities. We're gonna have a dance battle, like we're gonna have vendors, all of this. So I'm really excited to just try to like launch into a new territory, a new space, and with my brand where I love to connect with culture and understand cultures and embrace the cultures of different areas, whether it's subcultures or like a whole country like Nigeria, I'm very excited to be able to do that,
Yeah.
you know.
And how do you go about finding these places or deciding where you want to have these fashion shows? I know you said Vegas. Um, I know you were in France for a while. Like you're getting pretty international at this point. So like talk a little bit about like how are you deciding which locations?
Really, it's the arts. With France, I've been studying the language forever, so and of course France is the capital of arts, like it's where art derives from, so it was only fitting that I go there. There's so much fashion in Paris. And with Nigeria, I ran across it actually on Instagram. I was like, wow, this art is really cool, like where is this from? So I started doing more research into it, and I'm like, wow, like they pull with like symbolism from different things, and the way they like showcase their art is so Like I can't even express it. And I'm so excited to go learn and understand like the thought process behind it because I am just like mind blown by it. It's so moving to me. And I think that's what should, take someone, especially an artist, anywhere they want to go is like what inspires you?
Yeah.
Because I'm inspired by their art and
That's
I wanna be there.
yeah.
I wanna make art like
You're
that.
about to be there.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, just winding down, coming to the end, just talk, just giving a fashion designer, a modeler, entrepreneur, just anyone out there some advice along their journey.
Really, all you can say is you're gonna make mistakes. Like every day, I probably make mistakes, but you just have to keep going. Like so many people talk about, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this, and then don't do anything about it. Like do something, even if it's one thing every day. Don't cut yourself short. I'm doing something every single day. Like I said, I want to be here. What do I have to do? And I get there. Okay, what's next? Don't look at it as like, oh, this like big daunting, like, oh, I'm never gonna make it. I can't do this, blah, blah, blah. No, like every day do something, reach out to someone. Like even if you don't think they're gonna respond, try anyways, because you'll be surprised. Like I reached out to some really random people and I've had great feedback from it. So it's you just gotta put yourself out there. And it might be uncomfortable, it might suck sometimes, but it's like that risk reward, what are you willing to risk and how high of a reward are you willing to get from that risk? So
No, that's amazing. Yeah. And as we're winding down, just thank you for being here and just giving great advice.
thank you.
Yeah, and just give some of the people in the audience out there, your information and just, where they can follow you, where they can keep up with you and your journey. Yeah, IG.
A little bit on TikTok. My handle is indigo_Barbie for my modeling and indigo_ jerseys for my designs. And it's the same on TikTok and Instagram. But I'm mostly on Instagram right now, trying to phase into TikTok as, that becomes more of a platform. So.
Nice, nice. Yeah, and thank you for being here. Thank you for coming on, sharing your story, and can't wait to see what you have in store for the future of your journey in the making.
Thank you
Yeah.
for having me.
Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll catch up to you on the next time of In the Making.